Shabbat Shalom, this is Larry Mitchell. We have been going through the book of the Apocalypse, the book of the Revelation, and today we are going to begin looking at what Jesus said to the church at Thyatira. You know, Ellen and I had the opportunity to visit the archaeological sites of the 7 churches of Asia. There's not much to see in Thyatira. There are some ruins in the center of Eskishar, but these ruins are from the 5th and 6th century basilica. It was built hundreds of years after John wrote this letter, and there remains very little to see of that basilica. We have seen that the 7 historical churches represented 7 different types of churches, all of which continue to exist to this day. They also seem to represent 7 church ages, each church representing a different period of time, beginning with the Church of Ephesus, which typifies the early apostolic church, and ends with the apostate Laodicean church, which paints a picture of liberal theology. If those churches do indeed represent 7 church ages, then the church at Thyatira would represent the Roman Catholic Church. Let me give you a few quotes. Dr. D.L. Wilmington, the church period 590 to 517 A.D. As we have previously noted, the name Thyatira means continual sacrifice and may refer in general to the Roman Catholic Church. John Walberg, the parallels between Thyatira and other apostate churches throughout church history are clear. Some compare Thyatira to believers in the Middle Ages when Protestants separated from Roman Catholicism and attempted to return to purity in doctrine and life. The prominence of Jezebel as a woman prophetess is sometimes compared to the unscriptural exaltation of Mary. John Walberg goes on to say the participation in idolatrous feasts can illustrate the false teachings that the Lord's Supper is another sacrifice of Christ. In spite of the apostasy of churches in the Middle Ages, there were some churches then which, like the church of Thyatira, had some believers who were bright lights of faithfulness in doctrine and life. Dr. J. Vernon McGee says this: the church of Thyatira is representative of Romanism, which takes us into the Dark Ages from 590 A.D. to approximately 1000 A.D. It was a dark period. And concerning the historical period of the Dark Ages, which the church of Thyatira represents, pagan practices and idolatry were mingled with Christian works and worship. The papacy was elevated to a place of secular power under Gregory I, 590 A.D., and later by Gregory VII, better known as Hildebrand, 1073 to 1085 A.D. The introduction of ritual and church doctrine supplemented personal faith in Jesus Christ. Worship of the Virgin Child and Mass were made definite part of church service. Purgatory became a positive doctrine, and Mass was said for the dead. Spurious documents labeled Donation of Constantine and the Decretal of Isidore were circulated to give power and rulership of the Pope. As Jezebel killed Naboth and persecuted God's prophet, so the Roman Church instituted the Inquisition during this period. Seduce means a fundamental departure from the truth, according to Vincent. Jezebel stands in sharp contrast to Lydia, who came from Thyatira. Jezebel is merely a forerunner of the apostate church, as we shall see in chapter 17. The King James Bible commentary said, Thyatira, which means continual sacrifice, is a church of clerical denomination. It designates a period of history of the church from the 6th or 7th century to the Reformation in the 16th century. The dominant church of that period promoted continual sacrifice in its services. The church at Thyatira represents the Roman Catholic Church. If it does, then we need to be cautious not to condemn the remnant of true believers found there. In verses 24 and 25, the Lord addresses the believers in Thyatira, saying, "But unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan as they speak, I put no other burden upon you, but that you have already hold fast till I come." In other words, there's going to be a remnant of believers within the Roman Catholic Church right up to the rapture. Nor can we apply Revelation 17 to the modern Roman Catholic Church, for the apostate church will be filled with those left behind after the rapture, joined with apostate Protestants, and they will openly worship Satan and the Antichrist. Jesus does commend the good works of the remnant of believers found in Thyatira. So as bad as the Roman Catholic religion is, it is not as evil as the apostate liberal church described in the church of the Laodicean, for he does not have one word of commendation for them. For the remnant of believers still in the Catholic Church, unless God has left you in that denomination to be a witness to the Lord, I would give the same exhortation of the Apostle Paul. Romans 16:17. Now I urge you, brethren, note those who cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which you have learned, and avoid them. The Bible teaches we're saved by grace alone, through faith alone, and Jesus Christ alone. As you can see from the slide in the picture, Roman Catholicism has rejected the biblical means of salvation. You can see in the picture that the blood of Jesus Christ has to go through the sacraments, which is not biblical, and through the hands of Mary the Virgin, which also is not biblical. I think we're going to have some interesting insights as we study the church at Thyatira and some of the apostasy that has come into the church that is represented by Thyatira. This is Larry Mitchell. Shabbat Shalom.